So with that in mind, how do you stay grounded in reality and truth in times of adversity and in dealing with people that are so stuck in this state?
Yeah, it's a daily practice. For me, it's nature. Honestly, it's we're blessed to live not in a city, but in off grid, on a mountain. So for me, it's just going back into nature and seeing that the ultimate reality is still just as pristine. It's the nature is still just as sacred, just full of the geometry, divine sacred geometry, the colors of the sky, just reminding me that that is the reality, and this chaos and all these lies, they're this thought sphere, it's not real. So I always just go back into gratitude through being in nature and seeing that that is the ultimate reality, nature, and that you can't conquer nature. And whatever they try to do is just that they are just pulling the pendulum further and further away from harmony, and knowing that they're going against nature. So it will be brought back, and it will come, the further they take it, the more force it will be to bring it down, and it will crush even harder. So I just trust in the resilience of nature, and also of the human soul. And yeah, just from that place of gratitude, I'm able to have more patience, and just know, I look back at, the past tyrannies and past, empires, with the knowledge that they've all crashed. Well, maybe they've transformed. That's what my husband says. No, they've just transformed from one to the other. But also they have, some of their structures have crashed. And for example, I think of a lot of the times, because I've spent so much time with the indigenous people, I think of them, and I think of the way that they held their resistance, and how they're still, being massacred in the jungle. Their lands are being taken from them. Their cultures are being destroyed, but they still hold ceremonies. They still sing. They still dance. So they never, allowed their humanity to be robbed from them. They never fell into fear, although of course, like, they've been terrorized, but they refuse to become any less than they are. They know that they are. They know they are the image of the Creator. I mean, when you speak to an indigenous people, you feel the nobility of their heart. You feel that they are in full knowledge of who they are as a being. So they refuse to cower, no matter what happens. And they still say their prayers, and they sing their songs of praise. So I remember them, and I kind of connect to them. And sometimes I have visions of their, resistance and their battles. And I know that this has been happening for eons. This isn't something new. And then I feel that some of us have been trained to do this work. So I can see that those who are not able to even recognize that we are at war, that there's no way I should expect them to be a warrior then, if they can't even recognize the war. So to have kind of compassion on the level of profound hypnosis that they are in, and to see that, okay, they're unable to fight this war because they don't even recognize that there is a war. Right. So just to balance, like what I'm expecting of people. So lately I really have focused on just how to ignite those who know what's going on to take action. Because I believe we are already enough. So I'm not too concerned anymore about waking up the ones who are in complete illusion, but activating those who know what's up, because there's a lot of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that, that, we're based in truth. And once you really take in that truth and understand it, and you realize you have a duty to teach it to other people and to spread it, then you become aware that the way that the control system keeps those people in that fear state is through lies, right? So like we were taught, you guys were saying about science, it's all, you know, most of the modern science is, it's all based in untruths, and that's what keeps people out of balance. You know, a lot of people that I've spoken to, specifically people in my family, unfortunately, that when you try to have this discussion, this dialogue, they just say, oh, well, no one knows, no one knows about this virus, no one knows. It's like, wait a minute, you work in the medical field, are you telling me you don't know how your immune system works? You know, it's like, you know, a family member was posting stuff about George Carlin and how genius he was. And so I shared with this person, look at what he said about germs and viruses. He understood that's what your immune system is for, is to be. And it's like, oh yeah, well, you know, I guess he was an idiot on that, right? It's like, it's so it is disheartening in a way. I mean, I've found for me personally, and I don't know that this is the best thing, but I've kind of cut myself off from a lot of people that I know are just sort of hopeless. And part of the reason is to protect myself, because the narrative against us, to a person like that, is again to label us as some type of extremists. And you know, I'm just kind of tired of listening to what they're talking about online and what they're focusing on, and knowing that they're really not hearing anything that I'm saying. I think it was listening to something that Mark posted the other day, or it was an old podcast where he talked about wanting his Facebook to be an echo chamber. I'm pretty much at that point. You know, I know that a lot of the people who aren't interested in what I'm saying, they've already unfollowed me, or they've lessened their ability to see me. And I know I'm already preaching to the choir. So I'd rather have people that are willing to step out there with us, and be talking to them, in terms of, at least in terms of my social media. When we go out on the streets, you're hoping to hook someone, and I think we do. The last time we went out, we actually got a lot of emails on our website. So I think people saw us out there and then were like, you know, reaching out to us. So but yeah, it's definitely you know, staying grounded in truth. I think the people who really take it in and really understand it, you realize you have a duty to then continue teaching it and disseminating it.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about the family member experience. I've had a similar thing. And you know, my husband was saying, maybe you should just keep the conversations on a superficial level. And I said, I'm not able to do that. You know, as a soul, I can't do that. It feels disrespectful to all the people who are suffering because of the lie, that I would remain quiet and talk about our dogs instead. You know, like I can't do that. I literally feel my blood beginning to boil. And you know, there's a saying about the turn the other cheek, that actually it means that you keep saying the truth even if people beat you up. And I'm like that, you know, like I can't stop. So I've basically decided that they can block me, but I will not shut up. If they block me, then fine, because the truth honestly is more valuable for me than any relationship. Like if I have to, I think of the Nazi Germany. I know there's many people saying that there's a lot more that went down than what we know of, and that things were a lot more complex than the narrative says. And I can accept that. But if I do imagine a people that were being persecuted, and, you know, they were being discriminated by the majority, I imagine that time, you know, like, okay, we're there now. What would I do if I knew that that was going on then? Would I just allow it to happen and then look back in history and see that these horrendous crimes against humanity were done in my name? Because it is my name. There's no way you can deny that all of the people who allowed that to happen were responsible. So I just go back to that and I just say, no, I can't remain silent. And if they want to block me, block me. but the truth is more valuable to me. So I keep sharing my links, and that's it. If they don't want to read them, they don't want to read them. But honestly, I see it as a life and death thing, with these vaccines rolling out, this, gene technology that's never been used on humans before. It's just so dire. Like the stakes are so high that I don't care if I lose a couple of relationships as a result.